to Dimension 119, a dimension where anything can happen. Prepare for the strange and unexpected. Enjoy today's episode.
Greetings from another dimension. What's going on, everybody? It is Nathan with Dimension 119, and as you can see by the lack of player cams, we're already having a few technical difficulties. So I'm gonna skip all of the general intros. I'll post the links in chat that we normally post when we get started on Wednesday nights here in just a second. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it straight over to Steve. He's gonna be running the game tonight, and let him do his type of intros while I get everything set up. It's all yours, Steve.
Thank you, sir. Greetings, everybody. Welcome back to episode 2 of Orlunds Magical Mountain Emporium. I'm joined again by these wonderful players as they delve the depths of the mountain. If you haven't, go subscribe to Nathan's Twitch and his YouTube and Facebook at Dimension 119. If you haven't, go subscribe to me on YouTube at Superman vs. the Dungeon. You can catch up on all of our games there. And we're going to go ahead and jump right into this week's episode. So we left off, you guys had just encountered a group of quicklings as you entered the Emporium. After receiving your instructions on how this contest works, you were told that every 5 levels you'd reach the Eagle's Respite, which is a lounge and marketplace and tavern all into one, a small safe haven every few trips into the dungeon where you can resupply and re-gear and sell off proceeds if you happen to be so lucky enough to earn treasure. We were joined by another player in last week's game, and it just so happens that throughout the encounter with the quicklings, he received a blast from one with a poison attached to its dagger. He made his first saves against it, but as you all begin to slow down from the adrenaline burst of battle, anyone who looks in his direction would see that he appears shades paler than he was moments ago. And almost before your eyes, he begins to cough up large amounts of blood onto the cavern floor. Come back to the Emporium, gentlemen. What would you like to do?
Um, well, I suppose we're. Did we loot the quicklings?
I don't believe you did. I believe you guys grabbed one and began interrogation, but I don't think anybody went and looted bodies.
Okay. Let's kind of pilfer their pockets here quickly before we continue.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that because all we did last time was just finish the combat. So we definitely need to inspect our surroundings a little since we only just entered and we already lost a companion.
We should probably pilfer his body too.
Sure.
Well, duh.
Just saying.
You know, for Tempest.
As you're all regaining your senses and slowing down from the bloodlust of combat, you can see that he's a few feet away from you guys, hovering in the air due to some magic he has, but he is showering the floor of the cavern with a copious amount of blood.
Ooh, maybe we
Gross.
shouldn't touch him.
Yeah, no, because, you know, that's yucky. Get my armor all dirty.
My armor can't get dirty, but you know.
Meh.
It happens quickly. I don't know if any of you are familiar with poisons or the way they work, but usually poison's a pretty slow, terrible way to die. But this one, it seems to react quickly. It's only a few seconds of him coughing up this blood and gasping before his body goes limp and falls from the air.
All right. Well.
If you guys want to loot, go ahead and everybody give me search rolls, investigation, survival, whatever it is you're using,
Yeah, I mean,
perception.
I'm more interested in trying to find like a map or something that'll help us from these quick links. That's for sure. Let's see.
15 on perception.
15 on perception.
19 on survival.
I rolled a 13 investigation.
That's a 22 on survival.
So, Grom, you're investigating the corpses, especially the one that Nug was holding up until it died. You're rummaging through tiny little pockets and inspecting these thumbtack-sized daggers that this quickling was carrying. You find various amounts of coinage on this thing, probably totaling somewhere up to the value of about 9 silver in various different currencies, copper pieces, silver pieces, maybe a gold. Nug, you and Dave, you're more concerned with the mountain itself, and you're both checking your surroundings repeatedly and looking to make sure there aren't any of these tiny little corpses moving or anything anymore. And you two are the ones that catch the sound traveling up the corridor from deeper in the dungeon. It sounds almost as if someone's singing. Bob, you and Teef, you guys are kind of just perceiving the whole area. You go over to the Tabaxi's corpse, which has fallen to the ground, and you roll him to his side, and you see that his feline features are all swollen and purple from whatever this poison did to him. And it doesn't take any of you long to rummage through these corpses and gather up the few items that are worthwhile. Off of the quicklings themselves, you guys gather probably somewhere in the neighborhood of about 30 gold worth of various coins. They all are carrying at least one dagger that's sized appropriately for them, which would probably be something like a toothpick in any one of your hands. But they do sell for the equivalent of a dagger. So if you wanted to carry them, you could. Most of them aren't wearing any armor or anything of any sort. They're all just wearing tabards and tunics and leather breeches and boots. When it comes to the tabaxi, immediately, right off the bat, you notice that his wings have his boots have these little wings etched into the heels of them. And they're almost still fluttering when you guys roll his corpse over. They're made out of extremely finely tooled red leather. And you find probably, will be generous and will say he had 400 gold left of his starting gold on him. He also carried a wand, which, if anybody is familiar or capable, can attempt to identify.
Shambo for the boots. Just roll. Highest on a D20. Anyone?
Highest on a D20?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not going to do it.
Fiend. Or upside down, it looks like 81.
So we got Teef putting in his bid for the boots with a natural roll of 18. Anybody want to contest him for these boots with wings?
Nah,
I
you can have 'em.
decline.
Yeah,
Not particularly.
it'd be nice,
Alright.
but that's fine, you know.
I've already got unarmored movement, so.
Nobody seems to bitch and gripe, Teef, as you begin to pull these boots off of this Baxi's corpse. You will see that there is a bit of fur that's inside of the boots. It's hard to tell whether they're actually lined with fur or whether this guy just shed really badly.
Anybody got a lint roller? No.
So yeah, you come out total with about 430 gold and various gold and gemstones. We'll say that the Tabaxi was carrying his wealth most likely in small forms of gemstone currency, and about 30 various gold off of these quicklings, and probably 12 fairy-sized daggers. We each probably carried 2. And then the wand, if anybody wants to try to identify it or do anything with it.
I'm assuming if you want to try and identify or attune with the wand, you're going to need what? Who's our magic user?
Yep.
All right, so are we rolling for the wand then?
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, we'll roll for it.
Yeah, but you're out already, Mike.
But I got a 1 anyway, so.
Dave has no interest.
I rolled an 18.
I rolled a
It's
10.
it's a nice looking stick, Dave.
Yeah, I rolled a 5.
All right, so we got Bob with a 10, we got Nug with a 5, and what'd you get, Grom?
18.
Grom gets the wand.
What is this thing called?
It is a unidentified
Okay.
wand.
Okay.
Inanimate
It's a big
carbon
stick.
rod. It's an inanimate carbon rod.
A wampum stick.
You got specs on those boots, Steve, by any chance?
What'd you say?
You got specs on those boots by any chance?
Oh, you can just pull them right off D&D Beyond. They're just winged boots.
Wing boots? Okay.
They're just the standard ones out of the DMG, the uncommon.
Somebody spilled
Gotcha.
Red Bull on them.
Yeah, exactly. So, Nug, Dave, you two hear this soft sound coming from further down this light blue illuminated corridor, and it almost sounds as if a woman's singing.
Can we tell how far away it is?
No, you can just see to the extent of your dark vision, well, your low light vision in this area, that the corridor just appears to keep going.
Okay.
None of you are dwarves, correct?
No.
Is this anything that we would recognize or heard before or anything like that?
Nothing that rings a bell right away. You know, it's not one of those common tavern songs or road songs that you would know right away. But it does sound like it's a very melodic voice, and like whoever it is has probably, you know, been singing for a while.
Who's
Anybody-
strangling the cat?
Does anybody have an instrument? Find the key. Maybe if we can match it, you know. We don't have a bard in the group, do we?
Oh, not that I know.
That.
Dave's probably, if he doesn't recognize the sound, he's probably just gonna grab that one of the torches that were lit earlier, if they're still lit, and
Yeah,
just
they're laying on the ground unless anybody specifically held onto them.
and probably head towards the sound.
So, are you guys
Right.
keeping your original battle formation?
Yes, I'm going to be
I'll
staying in the
assume
back.
so.
So I believe it went the 3 Dave and the 2 Pallies up front, and then Nug and Teeth behind.
Yep.
So the corridor's 20 feet wide by 20 feet tall, and it's got these soft blue lights that run down the length of it. Everybody can see to the limit of their vision that it just appears that this corridor just continues on. And you're all walking, trying to strain to hear these sounds. Everybody give me a perception roll.
12.
9.
13.
21.
24.
21, 24.
Yep.
What was the lowest? 9?
Yeah, I had a 9.
You're the only one, Grom, that doesn't pick it up right away. In between the notes of this music coming down the corridor, you hear almost a scratching sound.
That's interesting.
What's interesting?
The scratching sound.
What
Ah,
scratching sound?
It's turntables, dog. You ain't hip to it.
Finding something.
Does it sound like it's coming from the direction of the singing?
Yes, and it's getting more frequent. The scratching, not the song.
Dave's gonna still be heading that direction, but he's gonna be looking more towards the ground, remembering these quicklings that came sprinting, through the ground and on the roof at us, and just kind of trying to keep a closer eye on the floor to make sure that something small is not coming at us again.
Can we tell the direction from which the sound is coming? Like,
It's coming from
exact.
directly ahead of you, further down this tunnel. The song and the scratching.
Hmm.
So you guys continue slowly making your way down this tunnel. The scratching gets more and more frequent. And as you're closing further down this tunnel, it actually gets louder too. You can actually hear it more clearly. You actually begin to hear it over the sound of the song. And Grom, you're aware of it now too, because it just becomes that prevalent in the room.
Oh shit.
And it literally sounds like just as many little teeny tiny things as you can imagine scratching against the stone.
But we don't see anything yet.
No.
Yeah, so I know we didn't say anything about it, but like I assume I wouldn't just have left my lit torch on the ground after that fight, right?
Oh no, anybody who wanted to could have picked up any one of the remaining torches. Nobody specifically said, I'm putting the torch out or I'm throwing this torch away or anything like that. So I just naturally assumed that you guys probably dropped them when the combat started,
Right.
and you could, for a free action, reach down and pick up the torch if you wanted.
So we don't see anything, right?
And Dave's forging
No.
ahead right now with a torch held, kind
Okay.
of trying to check the ground as he's walking.
All right. Well, eyes peeled, boys.
Can I stop and get down and look at the ground and see like if the ground's moving or anything when I hear the scratching? If like maybe it's something under the ground.
Absolutely. Go ahead and give me whatever skill you want to use to try to figure it out. Whatever you're going to get down there and do. Are you going to search and see for footprints? Are you going to press your ear to the stone and listen?
That's a 10 for either perception or survival. I'm probably just feel like getting down with holding the torch close to the ground and kind of maybe running my hand across the surface, just kind of trying to see like if the ground feels different than what it should. I mean, I'm a barbarian of the plains. I'm used to, being out in the open. So I'm wondering if this ground feels like it's being disturbed or something like that.
And you lean down, you take a knee, and you bring your torch down low, close to the ground, and you're looking back and forth, and you're running your hand along the stone out in front of you, and you can feel what basically feels like the whole tunnel is just vibrating.
Dave instantly starts thinking cave in, and we'll yell that to the rest of the party and start running forward.
We better follow him.
So we're gonna run in the direction of the cave-in?
Yeah, I guess.
Welcome to my dumbass barbarian characters.
He seems to know what to do when there's
As
a
a
cave-in.
decision as we've made so far.
And I don't know if you guys know anything about the barbarians of the plains, but he has absolutely no idea what's going on in caves.
Hey, real
So,
quick,
Well, no, you're from the
goes-
grass.
real quick. I don't know how my camera turned back on, but if I turn it off, is it gonna mess with things?
Yeah, I mean, I can switch it back around if you need to turn it off or whatever, but it'll just it'll jumble everybody up again.
Okay. I'm just saying, like, if I needed to get up to use the bathroom, I didn't want to.
well,
Yeah,
it's fine.
if you got like a card or a towel or something to throw over, it would be much better.
For sure.
So, you guys see Dave go from kneeling and inspecting this cavern floor with a torch to bolt upright, screams the words cave in, and takes off running down the tunnel. You're all going to react and tighten up the group and chase after him.
I'm gonna follow slowly behind everyone and give them enough time to let me see what's happening.
He has confused me because I don't hear a cave in. And so I'm gonna follow at a medium pace. Just in case something jumps out at him. I
So
can
if-
try to save him.
So if Dave is at a full-blown run, you're at a nice crisp jog, and then Teef is taking the mall walker pace behind you guys, just slowly keeping a few paces back from the last guy running in the chain.
Yeah.
So you all take off down this tunnel. You're running for what seems like minutes. And Dave, you're the first one to notice it because you're leading the pack. Actually, Nug is actually closing the distance on you without even trying to. He's not used to having to stay in a formation like this, in a battle formation, and he finds himself creeping up behind you guys and having to back off a little bit. And so you're the first one that spots it. Probably about 60 yards down the tunnel from you, you see the sheer walls of it fade away. And from the sounds that are now reverberating towards you, It sounds like you're approaching a large, substantial room or cavern or something.
Boss fight, guys.
What's that music we hear?
The music got more climactic. You know what I'm saying?
Hang on.
Climatical.
Hang on. Where
Aye,
is it? Where is it?
anticlimactical.
Where is it?
Riding on the bus, riding on the bus.
Alright, everybody hotkey your attacks.
Make sure you got potions loaded up. Pallies, get your circle of judgment going.
On the numbers on that.
Is this coming, like, are we hitting the opening before, nothing stopping me before I get the opening, right?
Right.
I think Dave would come to like a sliding halt as the room opens up. He knows nothing about caves and caverns, so but he feels safer being in this open area. Like, just kind of stops at the entrance where the tunnel stops, and it's just the open area. Feeling like because there's more room, he's safer from this cave in, which it's complete and total bullshit, but.
You're a claustrophobic.
No good reason not to be.
A neighbor playing loud ass music.
Is it good music?
I was just gonna say, is it good?
No, it's terrible wannabe southern trap music.
Oh, bro.
It's fucking horrible. It's not even good southern music like Paul Wall.
Yeah, the people's champ.
That's right. Southern music, you gotta go with the people's champ.
And then there's my all-time favorite, was it Crunchy Black.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's a legend in a rap game. So you get to this opening, Dave, and it just, the vista opens up before you. You're looking at a cavern that's probably a couple 100 feet from where you are to the opposite wall, and probably a good 200 feet high for a ceiling. Stalactites and stalagmites dot the floor and the ceiling at various depths and angles. But the thing that strikes you immediately upon coming up onto this cavern is the ebony skinned elven woman sitting on a rock inside of a small pond in the center of the cavern, singing in one of the most beautiful voices you've ever heard. And I need everyone to give me a will saving throw.
It's a trap.
That's what I thought, but
Speaking
that's
of
what I
trap
thought, but
music-
not what Dave thought.
Actually, I think, no, Bob, you're a half elf, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Is will wisdom,
Wisdom?
or intelligence?
Wisdom.
Then I got a 19.
Is this considered trap music since she's singing?
I don't think so.
Nat 20.
First one
So
of the night.
roll at 23.
I got a 16.
So we're rolling what? What kind of saving throw?
Wisdom.
Okay. Uh, 14.
All right, Steve, you're gonna have to vouch for me because I told Landon before you got here that my dice were cursed, and for whatever reason, I'm rolling good right now. So you're gonna have to vouch for me that you've played in games with me before, and I don't ever roll, almost never roll double digits. It's a 21.
100% legit. 100% legit. In fact, there's actually video proof of it on my YouTube. You can see Nathan just get screwed left and right
Just
by
means you're due.
Yeah, I seem to remember that as well.
The
I've
dice
been due
gods owe you some.
I've been due for a good 4 years then.
So
Well,
all of
circle
you, the lowest we had was a 14 with Grom, right?
Yeah.
Right, sir.
All right, that's actually the save DC you needed to hit was 14.
Sure.
So you're the slowest one to shake it off, but you do actually shake it off. All of you are immediately captivated by this music, and then just slowly, in turn, you all kind of shake the cobwebs from your head and look at each other like, holy shit. You don't know if it was a millisecond that you stood there or an hour. And you just immediately bring your defenses and your guard back up. And upon seeing this reaction out of you, actually, the first one she sees it out of is Dave and Nug. They're the first ones to shake it off. Nug, especially with his, high levels of training in iron forcing and iron will. She sees the clarity in your eyes, and the singing stops, and she immediately lets out a screech. And I need everybody to roll initiative.
All right. I get a
My
advantage.
initiative is a 18, sir.
All right.
Let's see here.
Mine is
And I
an
got
8.
something for this drow sorceress.
What did you
I
say,
got
Mike? Yours
19.
is an 8.
Correct, sir.
I rolled a 13.
15 for
with
Dave.
13. Dave with the 15. What'd you get, Rob?
19.
19. And it's going to be on Nug to act first, followed by Bob, then Dave, then Grom, then me, then Teef.
Okay. So, where are we relative to this woman?
So this chamber is, from what you can see, at least a couple 100 feet across. She's sitting on a small island in the center of the chamber, right in the middle of a pond. The pond is probably maybe 40 feet in diameter. The island is maybe 15 feet in diameter. So she's probably maybe 90, 95 feet away from you at this point from the door opening that you guys just came through.
Perfect. I'm gonna spend a key point and cast silence in the 20-foot radius around her.
Okay. What she gotta needs to make a save against you.
Well, technically, it's not an attacking spell. Technically, it's used, but for the duration, no sound can be created or passed within a 20-foot radius sphere centered on a point you choose. Any creature or object entirely inside the sphere. Creatures are deafened while entirely inside. Casting a spell that includes a verbal component is impossible there. So
No
it's
save.
normally it's a protection spell, not an attack spell. So I don't see a save on it.
Cool. And her screech that you all hear as the singing stops, you all see Nug take just the slightest step forward, and it's cut off, almost as if somebody dropped a wall in front of somebody that was screaming. Just whoop.
Can I use my movement to move like towards her?
Absolutely. What was that, an action or a bonus action?
What, casting a spell was an action.
Your key point, it was all right. So you still have a bonus action and a movement action you can use.
Okay. Let's see here. I know that that would cause me to use okay. Well, let's move towards her, but not like directly. I kind of want to move off to the side,
You want to go on a flank?
almost like flanking. Yeah.
Okay, so the diameter of this pond that she's sitting in is probably about 40 feet around, and her
I'm a
island
freaking
sits in the center of it at about 15 feet. So you could come on an angle towards her and try to flank off to one side of this pond, because you can see that there is still stone floor of the cavern that surrounds this entire pond. You don't
Can I
see
see
a
anything?
river
Can I see
coming
anything
in
in the
anywhere
pond?
where it would be feeding into this pond. It literally looks like a giant oval.
Okay. There's no like waterfalls or anything feeding into the pond, or
No, you don't see anything, and you especially don't hear any running water anywhere. In fact, it's almost still. You don't hear the pond lapping up against the stone or anything.
and it is in fact water in the pond.
From what you can tell from here, yeah, it appears to be some sort of brackish water. You don't like
Okay.
smell anything other than that or anything. It doesn't have any shine or anything to it to elicit any other
Okay.
thoughts on it.
So I'm gonna move over to the flank, and I'm gonna equip my shield, and I'm just gonna kind of take a defensive stance behind it
Okay.
with my Kurosagama on the ready, and that should be the end of my turn.
Right. And you can see her mouth moving as you're moving across, and you see her snarl enraged, and her eyes don't leave you as you slowly flank off to one side. That brings us to you, Bob. What do you want to do?
Well, think the first thing I want to do is grab out a healing pot and take another healing potion. Potion.
You've got him on a belt or a bandolier, right?
I'm sure I do.
Then you can use a bonus action to do it.
Oh, sick. Yeah, so I'm gonna do that real quick. And you said that we're about like 90 feet away
Yeah, the where
because
she's sitting on
she's
this
20
little
foot in
island.
the middle of a pond.
Yeah, it's a 40-foot diameter pond, and her island sits in the center of it, and it's about 15 feet around. So she's about 15 feet from any edge.
Okay. Um,
But the pond and the island itself is about 90 feet from the doorway you guys just came in.
right, right, and then she's just a little bit further than that. I guess I would look around real quick and I would make sure that everybody seems to be okay. Because of my training in the church, I was able to shake off the suggestion or whatever it was that she was trying to do to us. So I just want to make sure that everybody looks okay. And then I will sort of not really so much as a pep talk, but encourage everybody, that we can handle this foul evil that lies in front of us, as in the form of a drow. And, I'll make an oath right there that I'm going to end this thing. And then I guess I'll start slowly marching forward in hopes that everybody else is on the same path to glory as I am.
Go. All right, and then that brings us to Dave.
Is it possible for me to get within 60 feet without going in the water?
Yeah, if the stone of the cavern floor comes up, the pond diameter is about 40 foot around, and her 15-foot island floats right in the center of it. So she's only about there's only about 15 feet of water that separates her on any side from the actual cavern floor.
Okay, I want to get as close as I can and pull out one of my hand axes and kind of do a little flip with it. If it's more than 20 feet, then I'll have to roll disadvantage if I'm reading this properly. I can throw a normal range of 20 feet, at long range up to 60 feet.
Yeah, you could easily get up to about 15 to 20 feet away from her and still be on the stone floor of the cavern.
That's what I want to do then.
All right. Go ahead and make your attack roll.
It's going to be a 17 to hit.
That will hit.
That's going to be 5 damage. And when Dave pulls this hand axe out, and he grabs it by the very bottom, and kind of flips it, and it does a twirl. And as it does a twirl, you see a little gleam in it. He draws it back, and he launches it, and it flies a bit faster than what you would think a hand axe would fly. And as it strikes her, it does the 5 damage, and then she needs to make a strength save, a DC 10 strength save, or be knocked prone.
She fails.
She is knocked prone. And then I'm gonna kind of look down at the water. I don't know if you want to let me do some kind of check to see if there's anything weird about it, or save that for my next turn. But his next task would be to kind of kneel down and check this water before entering it.
Immediately upon getting that close to the water, you can see that for being such a small diameter of a pond, this thing is deep. Like, you don't see a bottom to it deep, but you do see a small golden light somewhere down in the depth below it, almost directly under this island, but you can't exactly tell how far down it is because of how dark the water is.
If you can't swim, don't get in the water. It's deep. Some kind of glow at the bottom underneath the island. Let's deal with this first, and then we can check that. And he'll stand back up, kind of maybe dust his loincloth off, and look back to this prone figure on the island.
And that's going to bring us to Grom.
Okay, so the lady's like out on like an island, and
Yeah, she's basically on a 15-foot circle of stone
surrounded by
that's
60 feet of
sitting
water,
in
right?
a 40-foot diameter pond.
Okay. Wait, 40 feet across?
Yeah, like the whole circle of it is 40 feet.
So the
And she's
water to her is only like 15 feet then.
exactly. On any given access all the way around her, there's only about 15 foot of water from the edge of the stone floor to her on the island.
Okay.
The spell, the silence spell extends in a 20-foot radius around.
Yeah, so it's
with her
covering 5 feet into the water.
So somebody said something about a swimming speed. I don't think I necessarily have a swimming speed. So do I just fucking sink in the water?
Well, you use your strength and your athletics or acrobatics, depending, to make checks opposed to the swim DC. Now,
Okay.
I assume you're wearing some sort of armor, so all of that comes into effect when you're, making that check. So if you got a -5 to your swim speed due to your armor and your encumbrance or whatever, then you're going to roll your athletics or acrobatics or your strength, whatever it is you're using, and you're going to minus that from your result, and you're going to hope your result is above the DC needed to beat that check.
Alrighty. Good enough for me. Alright, I'll cast protection from good and evil on myself. And
Okay.
you described her as like an elf-ish looking woman, right?
Yeah, she's a black-skinned elf. Pretty much all of you are familiar enough and world-wise enough to recognize her for the drow that she is. The only one who might be new to seeing them is maybe Dave, because the barbarians don't really
Sure.
delve too much into the cities. They do a little bit of trading, but it's usually with outpost cities. But
But
ever heard the legends of the scandalous and nefarious and evil drow?
like drow are not, they're certainly not like aberrations, celestials, fae, fiends, anything like that, right?
No, they're
Yeah,
just
yeah. Gotcha. Okay.
another set of species of elf.
Yeah, they just hang out underground. All right, well then I'll
They are assholes. Most of them are evil. They
Sure.
do
They're
pop
my
up
favorite.
evil, but they do pop up. They do come into account when it is protection from evil. But they don't register as anything unworldly.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Well then I'll cast that protection from good and evil and try and swim across the ditch there.
What's your movement speed?
30, I'm pretty
So
sure.
you've got a couple of rounds before you get to her. She's
Yeah.
about 95 feet away from you right now, so you're gonna start making your way across. And that's actually gonna bring us to her. And she goes from laying on her back with Dave's axe protruding from her shoulder, and you see her sit up to a sitting position in the middle of this island, and she screams. You can see her mouth open wide in a scream, and no sound comes out. And she rips something off of her chest and smashes it into the stone of the island. And all of a sudden, sound reverberates throughout the cavern. It's almost as if you were standing inside of a cloud when a thunderclap went off. And I'm gonna need everybody to make me a Constitution save. Well, Dave, you're within range. Did anybody else close the distance more than 60 feet to her?
Um, I mean, you tell me. I moved 30 feet towards her after casting a spell.
So you would be outside of the range. Bob, what's your movement speed?
I'm pretty sure my movement speed is 30.
Okay, so you'd be outside of the range. Nug, how far did you move with your movement speed to a flanking position? You're muted. Rob, you're muted.
My bad. Well, my full movement speed is 40 feet.
Okay, so you
So-
probably wouldn't have made it all the way to that point either. So, Dave, you're the only one. I need you to make me a Constitution saving throw, man.
15.
You're going to take 5 points of concussive pressure damage. You can pretty much consider it bludgeoning as this sound wave rips through the cavern originating from her. And you all hear it ringing off the walls. And Teef, you're still back by this doorway because you were shadowing the group on the way up here. So give me a perception roll with advantage.
Let's see. What's advantage mean?
It means you get 2d20 instead of 1.
Oh. Not helpful. Second roll was 3 plus 1, so that's 4.
So you're standing back there. You see everybody start spreading out, scattering. You see Dave come charging in and launch this weapon. You hear her scream cut off, and then you hear this sound blast again, and her scream reverberate again, and it muffles the sound as the 2 stone plates in the wall slide forward, and the swarms begin emerging from them. So I'm gonna need. So immediately one's going to occupy the space that you're in, and it's going to share the space with you due to its swarm tactics, and it's going to make its melee attack against you as a living creature. And I wish I could pick my camera up right now to show you that my daughter's dice fucking hate you because they just rolled the natural 20. So I'm gonna safely assume a 23 is gonna hit you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and then some. Yep.
So you're gonna take 10 points of piercing damage as hundreds of little mandibles slice into you on almost every single gap and exposed area of your body, around your cloak, around the edges of these new boots you just pulled on, at the cuffs of your cloak. You just feel them everywhere. They're in your hair. The spiders are in your hair.
Man, that sucks.
And that's going to be their turn and her turn, and she's going to use her movement to stand up, and that's going to bring us to you, Keith. So you now have this swarm of spiders sharing its space with you, and another one racing across the floor out of the mouth of the tunnel. And your companions are headed off to deal with this larger threat.
Well, that certainly changes things. But I don't even know where to begin with this, man. Holy smokes. I am going to get the hell away from these spiders, first of all. So I guess I'm running
Still got your
forward.
torch?
I do.
Stop, drop, and roll. All over
Yeah.
that torch. Burn them motherfuckers.
You set
Right.
yourself on fire. You gotta set the spiders on fire.
Right? That's
I mean,
Dave logic. I'm surprised
that's
Dave didn't say that.
just classic logic right there.
So I'm going to start running forward to get away from the swarm, and as I'm doing that, I am absolutely going to burn these spiders off of me.
Okay.
And then I am going to stealth. Because I'm assuming I'm in this cavern now, I can use whatever shadows might be in there to try to hide.
All right. So you're gonna charge forward away from this mountain of spiders, and you're gonna are you disengaging and just running off, or are you trying to do something else? Because if you're trying to do something else, you're gonna provoke an attack of opportunity from them as you leave the space. But if you're disengaging, you're not gonna provoke an attack of opportunity. You are in fact provoked, right?
Huh?
Don't you have
Yeah,
full throat?
so I can disengage.
Yeah, so you can disengage and not take a penalty for it.
Yeah, I can do that with my cunning action.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and I'm stealthing because
Boom. So you disengage, hit your cunning action. Go ahead and make your stealth check.
I rolled an 18 plus 2 is 20.
They don't seem to have picked up where you went. You can see them scuttling forward across the floor coming into the cave. Anything else you want to do with your turn?
I'm going to hang here and ready my crossbow.
All right. And that's going to bring us back to the top of the initiative order.
Okay, so he's dealing with the spiders, and okay, so I didn't quite reach the edge of the pond.
Right. If you went 40, 45 feet, whatever your movement is, she's 90 feet away from you. So you could have done a double move if you didn't do any other action, or you
Right.
could have made your action and done a single full movement.
So obviously she broke the silence spell, right?
Yes. Or at
Okay.
least what you can tell, you heard the sound, the thunderclap originate from her point. She hasn't
that-
said
The
anything
only
yet.
reason I ask is it's a matter of concentrating to continue the spell or recast.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying is right now you don't hear any sound emanating from her, but she hasn't made any sound since then to show you that it's busted. You can safely assume that it probably is gone with that
Okay.
burst of energy.
Because I don't want to waste a turn concentrating on a spell that's already been broken. Is only some mechanic.
Absolutely.
Okay. So she's about 45 feet away from me.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's probably only 30 feet to the edge of the pond.
okay. You know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and cast silence on her again.
All right. You focus into that part of your mind that taps into your own personal key, and you feel it manifest. You feel it begin in that same point inside where it always comes from. And you feel it swell out like a wave to that targeted location, and you immediately feel the reverberation of energy back to you.
Okay, so am I silenced now?
Are you going to make a sound?
Um,
Right now, you just felt that blast of energy that you're so familiar with come sweating back over you when you knew the point was supposed to be out there.
right. Yeah, I'm just gonna clap to see, just to see if it makes a sound. Nothing.
No.
Okay. So it doesn't travel with me, so I can just run out of it.
It's
Okay.
just centered on the point you had, which would have been 45 feet in front of you, but it rebounded it right back to 45 feet at the point you were standing. It didn't
Okay.
push it
So
out
it's a
anywhere
20.
or anything like that.
So I'm running out about 20. I'm running out about 10 feet, and then it's another 20 to the edge of the pond.
Yeah. So you
Okay.
got probably about a 10-foot area at the edge of that silence spell that's not silenced before you hit the water.
Okay. I am going to. I don't have a whole lot of range here. Screw it. I'm just gonna run, or I'm gonna, use my full movement. Leave this, obviously leave the orb of the spell. When there's no one in it, does it disengage?
If you stop concentrating on it.
Okay, well, yeah, I'm probably immediately gonna stop concentrating on it. Yeah, and I'm actually gonna jump in.
You're going to jump into the water, or you're going to try to clear the distance to the island.
I doubt I can clear that distance. Probably gonna have to swim.
Okay.
But I'm gonna move up. When the wave hits me, I'm gonna be like, and then when I realize that it's actually, silenced me, I'm gonna get a little frustrated and just run forward, just jump into the water. I'm a turtle.
For sure.
Turtle.
So you rush up to the edge and leap off, immediately going into your natural turtle form for the perfect dive. And you hit the water, and it feels arctic. You've been
Okay.
in water before. You've been in lots of different types of water. Ever since you were a hatchling, this is your element. You were raised in this. This is the coldest water you've ever felt in your life, and you need to make a Constitution saving throw.
Man, I should have pulled into the shell before I jumped in the water. Wrong screen.
He's turtling.
I got an 11.
You needed to beat a DC 10. That's great. Your heart palpitates as you hit this water, and you almost, just out of sheer impulse and reaction, go to pull into your shell. And your focus comes through like a sharp knife right in the forefront of your mind, and you just breathe out a big sigh and begin to regain your composure. And that's going to be you, and that's going to bring us to Dave.
All right. So you said the water is about 15 feet across. How
Yeah,
far
from
is
the edge
she
of the
away
stone to
from?
her.
How far is she away from the edge of the water on her side?
She's probably 5, maybe 6 feet or so. She's right in the center of this 15-foot platform. So she's got like 6 or 7 feet all the way around her of stone.
Okay. Dave is going to pull out his battle axe, and he's going to give it a little twirl and kind of look around him at everybody else with a smile on his face. He's going to take about 10 feet, he's going to step back about 10 feet and then start sprinting forward. And just before his foot touches the water, he's going to leap across this water onto the island. I should be, my strength score is a 19, so I should be able to jump that as long as I've got that 10 feet of running speed.
You're good. You've got plenty of run up on it. You were still right about 40 feet away, so
that'll take at least my 20 feet of movement. I should still have 20 more, so I should be able to move forward and close with her, I believe.
All right.
And I will just get right directly in her face and just scream at the top of my lungs at her, like a battle cry, before swinging this axe at her. And that's basically Dave raging.
Go ahead and initiate your attack.
That's a 17 to hit.
That definitely hits.
Okay, D8. That's going to be 8 damage total for that attack. And as he hits, these spectral figures are going to come swarming up out of the water and start swarming over her and pestering her. They look like they're kind of attacking her, but they're not hurting her. They're just kind of like drawing her attention away from everybody else. Basically, she'll have disadvantage if she attacks anybody else but me. And then I will come back with a backswing and try to hit her with my second attack as well.
All right, go ahead.
I'm going to... No, that's a 16 to hit.
That is not going to hit.
Okay.
You actually come through with your overhand chop, and she tries to lean back, but doesn't get far enough, and you come across, slashing across the leather armor that she's wearing and opening up a bright line of blood across her chest, and these spirits erupt from the head of your battle axe and begin to swarm around her, and you go to bring your backhand back across to catch her with the other side of the axe, aiming for her midsection, hoping to disembowel her, and right at that moment she disappears from in front of you and reappears 10 feet to the side, about 7, 8 feet to the side, and your figures are still swirling around her as she waves her hands around trying to bat away at these spirits.
And that'll be my turn.
And that's going to bring us to Bob.
All right. First, I'd like to say that for the first round, I was second in initiative order. So, you know, just putting that out there. Since Dave took cuts in front of me, I'm glad he missed his attack.
Those barbarians aren't very polite.
There's
Now I'm gonna
more.
throw something at his head.
Well, it's gonna look like it, but really, I'm aiming for the drow. Enraged that Dave took cutsies in front of me, I'm just gonna grab my holy symbol around my chest real quick. I'm gonna mutter a quick little prayer to Tempest, and I'm gonna cast a guiding bolt spell at the drow.
Okay.
It's a ranged spell attack.
All right. Go ahead and make your attack roll.
Ooh. 23,
23 hits.
and yeah, it's 4d6.
4d6.
4d6 radiant damage.
Okay. I thought you said 46. I'm like, Jesus Christ, what kind of guiding bolt is that?
A Tempest guided bolt.
Just
That's
right
what-
off the top. A
that's
flat
what-
46 damage.
That's
Right?
what happens when the Tempest Paladin rages like Dave.
It's only going to be 16 damage.
So you angrily at Dave's back, you grab your holy symbol and you scream out and outstretch your arm, and a blast of divine energy flies from your outstretched hand, swirling straight towards Dave's back. And at the last second, swerves right over his shoulder and blasts into the chest of this drow, almost equally positioned as this open slash that she just received from Dave. And she lets out a loud groan. But right at that instant, you see a bright yellow spark of energy emanate from her chest and arc right back up over Dave's shoulder and come racing across the ground to slam into your outstretched hand. And surprisingly enough, you feel slightly rejuvenated. You can feel a similar feeling to almost the first time your consciousness touched Tempest's divine consciousness. And you feel embolstered by it almost. And you can actually give yourself 3 temporary hit points.
Sick.
That's pretty awesome.
Also, but if I can hit the target before the end of my next turn, I have advantage.
Do anything else with your turn? That was your movement and your action. You still got a bonus action.
Did I move already? Yeah, I wanted to move another 30 foot up, so that
Yeah.
put me
So
60 foot. So now I'm about 30 foot away from her.
now you're about 35 feet away from her. You got about 20 of it. That's like you're 35 feet from her. She's 20 feet out, from you. You've got probably 10 or 12 feet to the edge of the stone, and then water, and then her stone.
Sorry, I'm reading something really quick to see if
No, you're
that's
good.
possible.
While he's reading that, I will say that with Guiding Bolt, it's not your attack; it's the next attack period. Whoever goes next, the next attack against her will have advantage.
Okay. Yeah, I was just barely glancing at it, and it's really small. And I
we
don't
ran
have my
into this.
glasses on.
We ran into this in our Curse of Strahd game on Wednesday nights because we have a couple of paladins, a couple clerics, so.
Well,
Stacking
thank
them
you.
bitches up. You get advantage. No, you get advantage.
And
No,
these
you
spell
get
cards, if you're playing cleric or paladin, these spell cards are the best thing ever.
I know I have a druid set and they're so sick.
Oh
But
yeah.
I got this little app on my phone I'm looking at right now. It's called Spellbook. So I just added my paladin spells and I can just look at it like it's a little thing, you know. Sick. Way better than hours of skimming through the PhD. Okay, I don't think that I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to continue moving forward.
Okay. So that brings us to you, Grom. What would you like to do on your turn?
I would like to dash to double my movement and run to the edge of the water and jump towards the platform she is on.
All right. Give me a strength or an acrobatics or athletics. If you have proficiency in either one of those, you can use either one of those. Otherwise, just give me an uncontested strength.
I am proficient in athletics.
Okay.
15 plus 8, 23.
You got it.
So like I just cleared the whole thing.
You come to the edge. Your foot actually curls around the edge of the stone lip, and your boot just barely touches the water, sending out a ripple, and you push off, hoping, like swinging your arms, hoping that you're going to clear the distance, and you actually land within a foot of her,
Oh,
like
shit.
about 6 feet further into the island than you ever expected. You expected that you were going to come short and maybe catch yourself on the side stone lip of the island, but you actually aren't prepared for it, and your knees kind of are joust up into you, but you regain your footing as you kind of regain your balance, and you're standing not much more than a foot or two away from her.
Well, sick as that might be, due to poor action economy of paladins, I'm done.
All right. And that actually brings us to her.
Great.
And she is very unhappy with the way the situation has unfolded. And she holds up both palms like this, one of them only scant a foot maybe from your chest, Grom, and the other one kicked slightly off to the side of you to your right. And she whispers a single word of eldritch power that sounds almost as if that same thunderclap that happened earlier in the cavern, as if it happened inside of your head. And I'm going to need both Dave and Grom, and I believe now we have Nug and Bob both within 40 feet of her too. So all four of you are going to need to make Constitution saving throws, and Dave and Grom, you immediately take 8 points of psychic damage as this loud crashing boom just reverberates through your skulls. You feel almost as if your brain is rattled inside of the skull case itself.
Okay, how much psychic damage do I take? 10?
8. 8
8.
points.
You said you need a con save?
Yes.
24.
Mine's a 20.
24, 20.
7 on the con save. I did really good.
Woohoo!
22.
You can use your inspiration point if you choose to, Grom.
I think I might on that one.
Nug, you got a 22.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah, that's much better. 22.
All right, all of you pass and shake off the after effects of it with only a slight ringing in your ears. You shake off the deafened effect. from it. And that she's going to push backwards off of the stone and casually glide across the water behind her to the edge of the stone floor of the cavern. And she's going to begin throwing her arms again in a mystic pass. At this point, both swarms come racing across the cavern floor. I believe they have enough speed.
Completely forgot about the freaking spiders.
No, you're actually lucky. They actually get to within 20 feet of the edge of the platform. So 5 feet into the stone, just outside of range, as they race up, coming towards this island. Anybody that's still on the stone between the island and the door, you're immediately realizing that something bad's going to happen to you if you don't get out of Dodge real quick. And that's going to bring us to Teeth. What would you like to do, sir? You just saw both of these swarms go racing past towards the central island. There are magical explosions going off back and forth between the island and the mainland, and everybody has pushed forward up towards the island as you're stealthing through the shadows in the back, moving for position.
I am going to move within shooting distance, and I'm going to use sneak attack.
What are you using? What kind of crossbow are you using?
A light crossbow.
And what's the range on that? 120?
I believe so. I did not write range down. I would have to look that up real quick.
I believe it's like 60, 120, like 20, 60, 120 or something like that. For
It has a normal range of 80 feet and a long range of 320 feet.
there you go. So yeah, you're easily within range of her right now. If you do it at long range, if you do it at anything other than the 80-foot range, you begin to incur penalties and disadvantage for firing at such long distances. But you're within 80 feet of her right now.
Okay. Use sneak attack and take shot at her. Oh, the orange one's been good to me today. As I say that. 10 total.
10 to hit.
Roll. Yeah.
That does not hit. Your bolt comes whizzing in at her, but it almost catches her as she's floating across the water, but she floats just barely out of the way as it slips past in front of her. She turns her head to look in the direction the bolt came from.
I use my cunning action to stealth again.
All right, go ahead and make your stealth roll.
That is 16 plus 2 is 18.
And you see the shot skim past in front of her, and she turns to look at you, and you go to slide to your side up against this stalactite that's sticking out of the floor, and you go to slide up against it, and you hear her voice, that melodic voice that was singing earlier, whisper out, "You expect to hide from me? I was born in the shadows." And that brings us back to the top of the initiative order. Nug, this
All
water
right.
is freezing your rocks off.
So okay. So she moved off the island to the back of the room.
Correct.
She's hovering above water, or
No, she
More.
touched down on the stone floor on the opposite side. When she stepped off of her island, she floated across the water.
So what's my distance?
You dove in at the front. The pond's only 40 foot wide, so we'll say maybe you've got 20 feet to the opposite edge, and she's just on the stone floor there, so maybe 25 feet.
Okay.
You would have to spend 5 foot of movement to climb up out, just like if you were trying to climb up a wall. But
My question here is, can I swim up half the distance, jump out, and hit her from the air?
I don't see why you couldn't. You're adept at swimming, and you're adept at jumping and kicking and
Okay.
punching and
Well-
clawing. So
So you said about 25 feet?
yeah, from where
Okay.
you are, like you would swim under the island and come
Yeah.
straight up out of the water, attacking at her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it in just a straight line, you're 25 feet from her.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. What do you need, an acrobatics roll or anything?
Yeah, whatever you're proficient in,
Okay.
unless you're using one of your monk abilities or something, then acrobatics or athletics, whatever you're proficient in.
Right. Acrobatics. Damn it. Where the hell is that dice? Dog, don't eat the dice. Eat the dice. Play it as it lies?
Re-roll it, man. If it's off the table, you can re-roll it.
For sure.
Floor dice
Wasn't
don't
sure
count.
what house rules were.
Your
Oh, I
house
seem to have
rules,
dropped
brother.
this natural 3 off the table.
Oh
Look
no!
what
What a shame.
No. My dog almost ate the dice too. It sucks. But I got a 25.
Dog ate it.
25 hits.
Okay. And then can I just attack again because I've got extra attack?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see here. Where the hell is that listed? Okay.
What kind of attack are you doing? Are you just doing like an unarmed claw, or are you trying to whack her with a quarterstaff, or?
Unarmed claw, because I had everything sheathed when I was in the water, so. Yeah. So, okay. That would put me at a 12 for that second attack.
That does not hit.
Okay, can I spend the key point to do flurry of blows? Hit her with 2 unarmed strikes? Okay. So the first one is 26.
Hits.
And another 26. Wow.
Just give me the damage for all 3 attacks that hit.
Okay.
Do you want to do anything else with your turn? You did your movement, you did your action, your bonus action, spending the key point. You should be good there, right?
Yeah, I think that's it. Well, no. The key point, is that a bonus action to spend a key point? Or is that part of the attack?
Oh, I don't know. Doesn't Flurry of Blows say as a bonus action you do 2 unarmed?
Let me just double check real quick.
Okay.
Yes, you're right.
Monks are my jam. Fucking love monks.
Sure.
They're like one of the
This is my first time playing a monk at length. Okay, so let me get that damage.
All right, you give me the damage. Everybody else, we're gonna take 10. So you guys go ahead and get your drinks, get your smokes, hit the bathroom, whatever you need to do. I'm gonna grab this damage from Rob, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna be on Bob's turn.
All right, everybody. We'll be back in about 10 minutes. We're going to take a quick bio break. We'll be right back.
evening, sir.
All right,
Happy
everybody.
there.
We're back at it. We got probably about another hour left, Steve? All right. Well, let's see what happens in the last of this combat and see what else Steve has in store for us in this cavern here. We've only made it through one hallway, and this is the first room we've made it in so far in 2 sessions. So it's gonna take us like 6 months to get off the first level.
Especially with
Bob,
that attitude.
the action falls to you. You see this drow float back off of the island onto the cavern floor at the backside of the cavern, and you see a bolt fly by out of the shadows, and then you see this turtle monk leap up out of the water and throw a bunch of punches and kicks at this drow as she's backpedaling and spell casting. What would you like to do? As a matter of fact, I need to roll her concentration check against your damage. No. So go ahead, Bob.
I need a concentration check.
No, I had to do it for her versus the damage from Nug's attack.
10-4, 10-4. All right,
So yeah,
so I see all this happen. I'm still trying to close the distance between us, but now my next obstacle is now I'm still 30 foot away from her position.
right.
So that means I'm at least 10 feet away from the water. Am
Yeah.
I in range of any of these swarm things that are going on?
Yes, they're coming straight down the floor from the tunnel opening towards you and the island and anybody else still in front of the door.
Um, Out of game question. When you attack swarms, are they just like an individual creature?
Yep, you just roll to hit their AC and they can
How
share a space with you.
how far are they from me? And should I just roll a perception check to see if I see them?
Oh, you can absolutely see them. You can actually hear them with the amount of tiny little feet that are clicking and scratching across the stone floor.
Okay.
It sounds almost like somebody's thrown a big old like mine cart full of pebble-sized rocks down this hallway. So
Uh-huh.
you hear it coming up behind you, and you could actually turn around in that position and attack them from there. They're only about 5 feet from you, or you could charge up into the swarms if you wanted to.
No, I would rather turn around and attack. You said there's 2 swarms?
Correct.
Well, hopefully I can kill one each. That would be nice.
There you
And they're just normally normal looking size spiders, or are they like big, huge, nasty ones?
No, they're just tiny little black and red dotted spiders. There's just hundreds of them.
Those are the fucking worst kind. Because that only means one thing. No good. So yeah, I'm gonna turn around and I'm gonna go ahead and take a big old swing at the first one.
Okay.
Ooh, I rolled a 19, baby. Plus 7 is 26.
That definitely hits.
Or what is that? 6 damage. And
What kind of weapon are you using?
it's a longsword.
And you see as you swing, you just slice like a fair-sized shank of meat of spiders off the top of this thing, and they go splattering across the floor, and a few come running back into the swarm, and there's a bunch of dead ones laying out there, but it's still swarming towards you.
Okay, as a bonus action for that, I would like to use the Thunderous Smite.
Okay.
The first time you hit with a melee weapon attack during the spell's duration, Your weapon rings with thunder that is audible within 300 feet of you. The attack deals an extra 2d6 thunder damage. So I guess that wouldn't take effect until I hit him with my next attack.
Well, that depends. Look
I
at
thought
Thunderous Smite and see what the casting time
it's
is.
one bonus action.
Yeah,
So I could do it while I'm attacking, right?
yeah, this is how
Yeah, like a
anything
normal smite.
Well,
Yeah.
no. So your normal smite, you hit and then you elect to either divine smite or not.
Right.
With every other like spell smite, I guess if you want to call it,
Ah.
not class feature smite, you have to cast the smite and it stays on you for 1 minute until you successfully
use
hit
it.
something. No, until you successfully hit something. And you
Right.
don't have an option of whether or not to use it. It'll just have an effect on
It'll
whatever you
trigger,
hit
yeah.
next. Yeah.
That's fine. Then the way I played it would be accurate, and I can attempt to use it for my next attack.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Hmm.
But unfortunately, I don't think that a 10 is gonna hit.
A 10 does not hit. You do have inspiration you can use.
All right, let me do that.
All right.
13, 7. That's a 20.
There
That
you go.
will hit.
All right. 20. But my D8 does not fucking like me. That's gonna be 5, and then I said 2d6 thunder damage.
Correct.
It's gonna make a
Or
loud
7.
bang.
It's yeah, it's loud. It does 12 damage.
So you slash down with your sword. It glows with a golden light, and you swing back with it again, slashing another chunk off, and this thunderous crack explodes out from your blade while it's passing through this swarm of spiders and just blows spiders in a cloud. And you can see that the grouping of them that's left on the floor that are still crawling are about a tenth of the size that it was originally.
Okay. It also says that they must succeed on a strength saving throw or be pushed 10 feet away from me and knocked prone.
The DC?
My DC is 15.
Jesus fucking Christ. They have a -4 to their strength because they're tiny little fucking insects, and I rolled a fucking 18.
Oh,
They fa-
oh. All
Your
right, so
save
they're
is
10
15
feet
though, right?
away, and
so
they
boom,
just
it just pushes this cloud of them out of corpses and the last few remaining alive spiders in that swarm. It just pushes them back out away from you.
outstanding. So then I use my remainder of my turn to prepare to possibly engage with the next swarm.
All you have left is movement, right? You used your bonus
Correct.
action, both
Right.
your so you could move if you wanted to.
I guess I'll move closer to the water,
Okay.
but only to like 5 feet away from the water. I don't want to be right up on it.
Okay. So you pretty much take a 5-foot step and you're there.
5 foot step. There we go.
All right. And that brings us to you, Dave. You just heard another huge boom go off inside this cavern. And you're starting to think you might have been right when you said cave in earlier.
Yeah, these people are going to bring this cave down, this mountain down on top of us before we get to the treasure. So when she took her last turn, you described something that, in a way that you said we would know that if we don't get out of here quickly, something was going to happen.
Yes.
Is there something specific going on besides the spiders coming after us that's making us think that, or?
You can see that she's still mid throes of spell casting, even though she took this pummeling from your turtle companion. So you can only assume that whatever it is probably directly linked to whatever type of black magic she's doing.
How's she looking right now?
She looks rough, but not, falling over herself.
All right, and how far away from me is she?
A good term to describe her for a barbarian of the White Plains would be to say that she looks blooded.
And what's her distance from me?
You're on the island, so you've got 7 feet of stone, 15 feet of water, and 5 feet, so 22, 25 feet probably.
Hmm. Would I have enough room on this island to do my 10-foot run again and try to jump the distance to her?
Yeah, if you backed up to the edge that you jumped from, it's 15 foot wide. You could run to the other side and jump.
Let me ask one more question before I do that. Is my axe still in her chest, or does she pull
Throwing
it?
axe?
Yeah.
No, it's laying on the ground on the island. She pulled it as she sat up from her seated position.
I'd like to retrieve that and then try to jump that gap.
All right.
Am I rolling something for it, or just making it, or?
That's on you. If you have athletics or acrobatics that you're proficient in, you can use one of those. Otherwise, it's just an uncontested strength roll.
16 athletics.
Boy, you like to skate by, don't you?
Sure
You
do.
make it early. Your feet slide on to the far edge of the stone as you come to a rest. You almost do that Ferris Bueller fucking cartoon thing where you wave your arms back and forth a couple of times to make sure your balance is centered on the stone.
Am I closed with her now? Could I attack her at this point, or do I still need to move to get close to her?
You'd have to take a 5-foot step to get to her. She's within 5 feet of the edge of the water.
I'll step up to her and try to strike her then.
All right.
I'm gonna recklessly attack on that one.
You're actually gonna get advantage on that attack because she's engaged with Nug at the same time.
Okay.
Congratulations, Doug.
Well, that's worse. That was only 16 to hit.
Let's see.
I think that missed last time.
Yes, it does.
Well, we'll try with my second attack then.
All right.
Oh, that's a 26 to hit.
That definitely hits.
And 8. Oh my god. 8 damage on that. And again, the spirits kind of started to dissipate and disappear until I ran up on her and struck her with my axe again. And as I strike her, they start to become they start to less be dissolved into mist and be more visible again.
The corporealness of them becomes more enhanced, almost as if they're coming from a pale shadow to actually in this plane of existence.
And that will be my turn. I'll hold my ground in front of her and give another war cry in her face, just trying to goad her into fighting instead of doing this magic crap.
Right. And then that was you. So we had Nug, we had Bob, we had you. So that's going to bring us to Grom.
I kind of want to just sit in the island so she can't come back here. Yeah, I'm gonna prepare an attack.
Also protected from the swarm too. So
Yeah, well, I mean, y'all got it right. Yeah, I'm gonna stay here and prepare an attack if for some reason she comes right up to me.
Stay
so
there
you're
and
going to ready in action.
stay there.
Yeah,
And if she comes back to the island, send her back to me.
exactly.
A little ping pong action. over the river. All right, beautiful. So that was Grom. So that's actually going to bring us to her. And she grunts in pain as your axe is pulled back out of her flesh from the first attack. And she just barely ducks aside from your second attack. And right at that moment, she completes her spell. And what starts as the scream of this elven woman's voice quickly changes into a very loud, almost headache inducing chittering as four more limbs erupt from the sides of her body and shiny black chitinous plates begin to explode from her skin as her clothing rips and stretches and falls away. She metamorphoses into a large black with red spots spider that's about the size of a draft horse. And you get just enough time to see these two ebony mandibles flutter back and forth before she lunges forward with her fangs, trying to impale you.
You talking to me or you talking?
Dave,
Okay.
Hey, what are you talking, huh?
$17 hit you, Dave.
Yes, that'll hit.
So you're going to take 10 piercing damage and 11 poison damage, and I need you to make a Constitution saving throw.
Dave's looking rough, guys. That is a 23 on con save.
Beautiful. You make it flawlessly. All right, and then Nug, she's going to lash out at you with one of these long, skinny
Can I
armored.
spend a key point to dodge?
Sure.
Yeah, let's do that.
So you're good. You're out of the way there. That's her multi. And then she has. She's actually gonna, as she swipes with you, she's actually using her other legs to backpedal and try to scuttle around. And she's gonna back up 10 feet and she's gonna swing to the side 10 feet and try to get closer to the wall. And then it comes to the swarm, and seeing as Bob is the closest target, they're both going to charge forward at you. The remainder of the one, which isn't much. That is a 20 to hit.
That will hit.
You're going to take 9 points of piercing damage. second one's going to come in, and I doubt an 11's going to hit you.
No, sir.
So that's their turn. Brings us to you, Teef. You've just watched your entire party charge across this cavern and attack this drow female and blood the shit out of her. And now she's leaped backwards across the cavern and metamorphosized and shapeshifted herself into a gigantic black spider. Off to your right, about 20 feet or so, Bob is engaged with two of these swarms of spiders.
I want to use my psionic talent, delusion, and
Okay.
plant a false belief in her mind.
All right, so I'm going to be candid. I'm not very up to date on psionics. I've studied them up a little bit. That's why I've opened up the psionic classes to come into the game. Usually I ban psionics because I'm not very knowledgeable on it. So read me the description of what this psionic talent is.
Okay. Are you familiar with psionic talents? Because I can read that to you as well, real quick to refresh.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So psionic talents are minor abilities that require psionic aptitude, but don't drain a mystic's reservoir of psionic power. Talents are similar to disciplines and use the same rules, but with three important exceptions. You can never use your psychic focus on a talent. Talents don't require you to spend psi points to use them, and talents aren't linked to mystic orders.
Okay.
So, and the talent I'm speaking of delusion reads, as an action, you plant a false belief in the mind of one creature that you see within 60 feet of you. You can create a sound or an image. Only the target of this talent perceives the sound or image you create. If you create a sound, its volume can range from a whisper to a scream. It can be your voice, someone else's voice, a creature's voice, a musical instrument, or any sound you pick. It lasts for 1 minute. If you create an object, it must fit within a 5-foot cube and it can't move or be reflective. The image can't create any effect that influences a sense other than sight. The image lasts for 1 minute and it disappears if the creature touches it.
Okay.
Now, what I want to whisper to her is, you are losing if you give yourself to the spiders. You will be reborn as my champion. Do this for the Spider Queen.
Okay. So you enact
Very
this
interesting.
ability. You see, because you're attuned to the waves of psionic energy, you see them manifest as a ripple that go out from you and wash over this spider. And you see it hunker down a little bit and start shaking its head, almost like it doesn't know where it is. And it looks around confusedly.
With that, I think I end my turn. Does
How's
that
your
would
action?
take my
You have
action?
bonus action still. You have movement still.
Oh, I'm still hiding, and I don't want to break my cover, so I think I'll just hunker down where I'm at, and that'll be it for now. I'm gonna keep my crossbow at the ready, though.
Okay. You gotta spend the action to reload it, correct?
Yes.
All right. So that brings us back to the top of the initiative order with you, Nug.
Okay. So what am I seeing right now? She
She
turned into a
just
spider.
transformed into a giant spider. It's probably about the size of a draft horse, maybe a little larger. It's black. It's covered in red spots. And she backed up 10 feet from you and stepped 10 feet to her right, which would be your left. and then she started shaking her. It started shaking its head, and now it's looking around confused.
Okay. Let's see here.
Meanwhile, you hear the half elf or the elf behind you grunting and stomping his boot on the cavern floor. Ah, the spider!
Okay.
Spider's in my hair.
The skelly. Ah.
Wow.
Okay. So she's 10 feet from me to my right, or
She's
my
10
left, I mean.
Yeah, she's 10 feet out in front of you and 10 feet to your left.
Your other right.
So if you
Okay.
ran a straight line to her, it would cost you 15 feet of movement.
Right. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay?
And before I run up to her, I'm gonna pull out my dagger, equip it, run up, and I'm gonna hit her with one attack again. But the second attack, I'm gonna spend my last key point to attempt a stunning strike.
Okay.
Okay,
Go ahead
so
and make
first
your first.
attack.
Actually, you can make it at advantage due to her being confused by this mental illusion.
Okay. $26.
Really hits.
Okay. And then I'll just do the damage on that. Damage is 8.
Okay.
And just double check the language here. I spent my last key point to attempt a stunning strike. Must succeed on a con stunned.
What's the DC for the con save?
15.
She makes it.
Son of a bitch. Okay. So as a bonus action, can I draw into my shell
Sure.
and just drop there? Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
All right. And then that brings us to you, Bob.
So still a little occupied with these swarmies.
Yep. You're covered in spiders.
Yeah, they done irritated me quite a bit. And kind of after I got hit the last time, I kind of took a glance around to notice the shape of everybody, see how they're doing. And then I get back to the task at hand. So I'm going to just start attacking.
All right.
So my foist attack, I'll try to finish off that first swarm.
Okay.
Ah, right. With a 25 to hit.
Definitely hit. Just for your knowledge, you need a 12 to hit them.
Thank you. Ooh, hell yeah. 7. For 11 damage.
What happens with this final blow to this remaining pile?
Well, I imagine after I look over my shoulder to make sure everybody's still alive, and I look back down and I'm kind of snarl at him a little bit, and I just pick up my sword and I go to swing at him, and the last little grouping of spiders that was there from that swarm, they all kind of jump up at me at the same time, and I cut every single one of them in half. and they just fall on the ground like a bunch of cracked eggs. Then I immediately turn my attention to the second swarm, and I make an attack with a natural 19. This time I'm gonna add a divine smite.
Okay.
My attack be 6. My smite 8, 12 plus 1 is 13 for 13 damage, and I'm gonna use a channel divinity bonus action for inspiring smite. Immediately after you deal damage to a creature with your divine smite's feature, you use channel divinity as a bonus action to distribute temporary hit points to creatures of my choice within 30 feet of me, which can include myself.
Okay.
The total number is 2d8 plus my level, my paladin level.
5.
So my 2d8, or it's gonna be 8. Plus 5 is 13, and I'm gonna give myself 7, and I'm gonna give Dave 6.
Dave's actually outside of that 30-foot range.
Oh, is he?
As he leaped off the island after the spider. Within that 30-foot range of you, you could target Teeth, or you could target Grom, or you could target yourself.
Then I'll just target myself for all of it. I thought being 25 foot from where they were, I thought it would be within range.
No, you're 25. You're 25 feet from where they were at the center of the island. They've
Okay.
exited the island to the backside now, so they're like probably 45 feet from you now.
Okay.
Anything else?
Um. Are so if they're not on the island anymore, are they on the main part, or are they kind of floating around on the edge of
Nope.
the island?
No, they're on the main cavern floor now. You would just have to walk around this 40-foot circle of water or go over it to get to where they are. They're directly across the water and island from you.
I'm gonna just stay where I am and see if I can just finish off this other swarm
Okay.
or whatever, that just in case, they sneak up on a nigga.
Beautiful. All right, so that was Bob. Now it's going to bring us to you, Dave.
I'll close with her again and try to attack her again.
All right.
Do I have advantage or anything this time?
No, you actually have to come in at an angle so as to not trip over your buddy tucked into his shell in front of you on the ground.
Alright, I'm gonna recklessly attack.
Alright.
The first attack is not gonna hit. Recklessly attack again. And use my inspiration, because this dice has betrayed me too. My luck has run out, boys.
You got a couple good ones out of it.
Still not gonna hit. That's 16 was the highest.
Actually, a 16 does hit her in this form.
Oh, okay. Well, hit then. So that's gonna be a D8.
Yeah,
Ooh.
just for anybody's knowledge who goes to attack her from this point on, her AC is effectively a 16. You need that to hit her.
So that's gonna be 11 points of damage.
Okay. And you see a spray of black ichor go sliding across the floor as your axe cuts into one of these large armored legs that's out in front of her. And the confusion snaps like a lens from in front of these beady red eyes, and the cluster begins to focus on you in front of her.
At this point, I'll kind of reach around and raise my shield at this point in front of her, just readying for another attack from her.
Okay. That brings us to Grom.
I mean, I don't want to seem like I'm not helping, but I kind of
I
just
see
was.
you've been doing just fine over here. He's like, fuck you, Mike. I didn't even have to stealth.
I don't know. Like, I feel like she'll just run away as soon as I leave the island, and then we all have to chase her to the fucking island.
He's like, son of a bitch, you know how hard it was for me to get to this island?
Yeah, dude, you try swimming in plate.
Yeah, if I were you, I'd stay tough right there, buddy, unless you got
Well,
some
all right.
bits.
We're
swim
staying,
down
man.
and swim down and see what the glow is underneath the island. You're in plate, you'll sink fast.
Yeah.
I was
No,
gonna
thank you.
skimboard it with my shield,
Oh, that's cool.
right?
Yeah, I'm gonna dodge. I'm just gonna dodge.
Quick! I'm gonna dodge! He's listing
that-
lazily to the left.
This guy's got some maneuvers. So that's actually going to bring us to her and the swarm again. So she's actually, now that she's not confused anymore, she's actually going to multi-attack at the two of you in front of her. And she's going to start out with a lash at you, Nug.
She'll have disadvantage on that.
Okay.
As well as if Nug is hit, he has some resistances because of those spirits. I'll look up what they are.
He ain't going to get hit. She got a total of 9, and he's got an AC of 23 or some shit while he's in his shell. So her
Fine, I don't want
lash,
to help anyways.
and then she attempts to beat at you again, Dave.
She has advantage against me, sadly.
Oh,
Said it
you
before, and I'll say it again. Man, I love being a turtle.
are you fucking?
Kill.
All right, so officially, Nathan, your dice have not been the only one to run out of their steam. My new set from my daughter just effectively rolled me a 1 and a 5 when it came to attacking you.
Get some.
At 12 to hit for her high number.
That does not hit.
And she lashes out with the claw at the turtle and scrapes off of his armor. And then she goes to lunge forward and bite you. And you dance backwards, sucking your stomach in and throwing your hips back to just barely step out of range. And she hears you grunt as you pull the axe up above your head, poising for the next strike at her. And she shivers and starts scuttling backwards. And she actually scuttles 30 feet in a line straight back away from you two. So you both effectively will get an attack of opportunity at her.
Save my inspiration. It's only a
Hopefully she's
13.
backpedaling towards Daddy Bob over here.
I can't attack from within the shell, right? Unless it's a bonus action to
Actually, an attack of opportunity, you can use your reaction to do an attack of opportunity, which is an instantaneous action.
Okay.
So I've seen turtles stick their heads out of their shell without sticking all their other limbs out of their shell. I wouldn't see why you couldn't stick your head or your hand out and swipe at something.
For sure.
You need a crossbow in there with you so you can just shoot out of the holes.
Yeah, little blow gun.
Throwing ninja stars out the shell? I'm
Yeah.
all about that.
He's got
Fire
a
on ankle.
it's one of those little stacked, like size stacked tube flutes, but he's got blowgun darts in it.
The old
Don't
pan
give me
flute blowgun.
Don't give me ideas.
That's what I do. Hell yeah! And then I changed my name to Kickin' Ass.
I would.
So yeah, you can both make an attack of opportunity against her.
Alrighty.
You need a 16 to hit.
A sec. So does this qualify for the extra attack feat? Do I get 2 attacks, or does it have to be?
No, on a attack of opportunity, you don't get to use an extra attack
Okay.
type of
Just
thing.
wanted to make sure. Just
Yeah.
wanted to make sure.
You get 2 attacks per round, and then whatever actions and sequences
Right.
you can do, and then as a reaction, you can do a single attack as an attack.
For sure. Yep. You got to beat a 16.
Yes, sir.
What is that? Yeah, I got an 18.
All right. Go ahead and roll damage.
8.
Right. And then that's going to bring us to the swarm. That's going to make its attack against Bob. Which they get a +3. 17 to hit Bob.
Nope.
And they surge up in a wave coming up towards you, and you just slightly angle your shield in a tip forward and push back down towards the ground like ew.
Get out of here. Yucky.
And that's them. So then that's gonna bring us to Teeth.
See?
Yep.
Oh, that round's gonna go quick.
Yeah,
I'm
because she
going to use another psionic talent,
okay.
and I'm going to hit her with a Mind Slam.
Okay.
And that reads, as an action, you target one creature you see within 60 feet of you. The target must succeed a Constitution saving throw or take 1d6 force damage. If it takes any of this damage and is large or smaller, it is knocked prone. The target's damage increases by 1d6 when you. That's not important.
How much movement do you have?
I have 30 feet per turn.
You would have to move your max movement in a straight line towards them to have her still within that range.
Okay,
Because
I will
she
do that
attacked
then.
them and then fled back 30 feet.
Okay.
So if you want to move forward and then hit her with that, you can keep her in range.
Okay, that's exactly what I'm going to do.
And you said she needs to make a Constitution save. What's the DC?
There is no DC.
There has to be a
Would
DC
that
for
be?
it. It's basically your spell save DC.
Okay, I've got a 13.
Okay, so she needs to make a DC 13 Constitution saving throw.
Okay, that makes sense.
And she does not make it because she gets a +6 to her con saving throw and she rolled a 2.
Nice.
So she gets knocked prone and what else? 1d6 force damage and what else?
1d6 force damage, and she's knocked prone.
Okay. So go ahead and give me that damage.
3.
And she's knocked prone. And anything else you want to do? You did movement and an action. You have a bonus action left.
I'm gonna disengage and hide.
Okay. You can disengage, but you can't disengage and hide.
And hide, right. Yeah, I'm gonna
You can
disengage. I'm gonna disengage.
All right. So that's you. That's going to bring us back to the top of the initiative order with Nug again.
If he's done chasing his dog.
Yeah, my dog's crazy. Sorry about that.
Oh, you're good, bro. I got him too. Crazy sons of bitches.
Okay. How's she looking?
She looks like she's got a couple of chinks in her armored carapace, but other than the fact that she just got knocked flat to the ground and she's
Yeah.
pulling her legs back up under her, she doesn't look any worse for the wear.
Okay. Alright. Am I still in melee range?
She's 30 feet away from you. She backed up exactly 30 feet.
Okay. Let's see here.
And you and Dave, because of your proximity to her, you can see that there's probably another 50 or 60 feet of cavern behind her before it hits the opposite wall.
Okay. Okay. All right. So bonus action, come out of the shell.
Okay.
And then I'm sorry. What's the distance between me and her?
30 foot.
30 feet. Okay. So I'm gonna run up 20 feet and attempt to grapple her with my cursor origami.
Okay. You can actually give yourself advantage on that because she's prone right now. So to begin a grapple with your weapon, you do a weapon attack because it's that specific weapon. Otherwise, it would be opposed
Well,
strength.
I have extra attack anyway, so okay. Dirty 20.
That hits.
Alrighty. What do I have to roll to maintain a grapple?
She has to roll an opposed check against your
Okay.
grapple on her.
Okay, so the first attack would be a weapon attack
Initiate.
with damage, and then
Yep.
the second attack would be the grapple.
Yep. Unless you want to do it the opposite way. You could always grapple her with the weapon and then attack her while she's grappled with that weapon.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
So she's got to make a strength check.
Well, the first attack, do you want to attack her flat out first, or do you want to grapple her?
Yeah. Let's just do damage on that first attack.
All right, go ahead and do your damage.
What is your problem? 8 damage.
Okay.
And then roll for the grapple attack.
Yep.
Natural 20.
So
I just
hit
want
her
to
with
prove it to you guys.
nice.
Because a dirty 20 followed by a natural 20.
So you hit her with this attack, give her your regular weapon damage, and then she's immediately grappled. On her next action, she'll attempt to escape your grapple.
Okay.
So give me damage for that attack too.
7.
And you can see with that one, she lets out a labored breath, but she's still trying to climb back to her feet, even though she's been knocked prone and now has this turtle with a stick grappled onto her. All right, so that's your turn. That's going to bring us to Bob.
All right. So this swarm of spiders jumped up at me. I kind of tilted my shield and forced them back to the ground. And after I do that, I lift my longsword to attack again.
Okay.
I imagine the swarm is thinning out by now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's at about half its original capacity.
Okay. I roll a 14 for my first attack.
Hits, you need a 12.
For 8 damage.
So the difference between when you killed the first swarm versus when you killed this one is drastic in and of itself. The first one was a smooth, just lined up, clean cut, like the spiders just lined themselves up down the edge of the blade, and you just split them all in half. This one, as you came whipping across with your sword, they were leaping up to surge at you again, and you basically caught the majority of them with the flat of your blade and just turned them into a cloud of ichor, and it
Wow, the spider
sprays all
dust.
over your vestments,
Oh
and
no.
the fucking swarm is just rains down in little pieces on the ground in front of you.
It's gross. So I will then I'll wipe the spider out of my eye and I'll give a quick turnaround to see what's going on. What do I see? How far away is the spider chick in in
She,
conjunction with my location?
in a straight line from you, she is 75 feet away from you. She is the other side of this 40-foot pond, and she's 30 foot back away from this pond. She is right now trying to climb back to her feet from the ground, and you see that Nug has this big, long, weird looking weapon that you can't articulate what it is, and he's got it whipped out and latched onto her, and he's like pulling, and you can see the strain as he's like trying to fight her movements to keep her in that position. And you can see Dave is approaching her with his battle axe after she had tried to get away from them. And you
What
can see
is
Tom standing in the middle of the island, holding his shield up, making sure that she can't come back to this island. And you just saw the tiefling run off to the side over there, and he's somewhere in the shadows off to your left.
do I notice anything? I turned back the other way towards the entrance because you said the swarms came from the entrance of the room, correct? Is
Correct.
there anything else coming this way?
Absolutely nothing, but you do see that the two stone plates that slid out for the swarms that come out have actually slid closed and blocked the hallway.
Okay. So I see that, and then I turn around and I use my second attack to cast another guiding bolt
Okay.
at a second level. The range is 120 feet. Um, so I'm gonna go ahead and make a ranged spell attack for that.
Okay. You need a 16 to hit her.
A 16.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I rolled a 17.
That hits.
And she's gonna take 3d6. Or no, 4, 5d6.
Brutal.
Yeah. 6, 10, 14, 17, 20 damage.
And you smash out this cloud of spiders in front of you. You look to your right and you see that these stones have slid closed over the doorway. And you turn back to your left and look across the pond into the back side of the cavern. And you see Nug struggling to keep her bound. And you see Dave charging up, bleeding profusely from many, many wounds, roaring as he's running up with this battle axe. And a soft, warm glow begins to emanate from deep within your chest as you begin this divine chant that you know so well, and you feel it spread from in your chest out your arms, and before you even realize it, you've actually dropped your longsword point down into the floor of the cavern next to you, and both arms come out and and divine golden light arcs out from your hands and swarms across the entire cavern, swirling past Grom, racing around Nug and over top of Dave, and just lashes into this giant spider as she's going to struggle to get up. And you see her body twitch and convulse and shock and crack and crackle and slowly come to rest in a pile in front of Nug. I'd like to pause for a moment and give Bob the first honorable HK of a mini boss in the Emporium.
Ah, well done.
Ah, thank you. I told you I vowed to kill that bitch in a glorious fashion.
Kudos to you. You are an elf of your word, so
Tempest! That's what I did. I was Tempest! It was a Tempest Flash, is what we'll call it.
that's right. So you are all effectively out of combat now.
So
Dibs on the best gear.
I
You
can
can-
safely leave the island now.
You can interact any way, shape, or form that you want.
Okay,
Dave's-
so I'm gonna run.
As she dies, her body begins to slowly change back into that of a drow woman.
Dave's gonna take a deep breath, kind of releasing this rage, and then he's gonna turn back towards the island and look at Grom. Are you building a house over there?
I'm thinking about it.
That's prime real estate.
Should have had it
Waterfront
finished
on
already.
Mailbox? Did your mailbox come in yet?
Speaking of building a house, we may want to set up camp for a little while.
Oh yeah, I need some key back.
You know,
I
Like half an hour
definitely.
from-
I got 1 first and 1 second level spell left.
I expended all my key on that.
But I
Between this-
have
between this
I
and the
have
last
50 of 63 temporary hit points. How temporary it doesn't say, but we'll say it lasts for about a week.
one.
So what would anybody like to do?
I am gonna, cross the lake and get back to the party.
Is the water still super cold, or did it change with the death of the drow?
Nobody's checked
Because I need a rinse off.
it. You need to wash some vestments.
I'm a little spidery.
Purify yourself in the waters of Lake Minnetonka.
Mhm.
I've already
So-
done that, bitch.
island would make a nice place to set up camp.
Lake
Well,
Titicaca.
okay.
Everybody give me a perception roll. Grom, give me one with advantage.
Okay.
11.
18.
8.
12.
17.
Actually, Dave, it's your keen eye that picks it up before anybody else. Maybe it's the inherent nature in your people of looking for small wild game footprints out on the plains and the tundra, but you see etched into the stone right in the center of that island, pretty much between Grom's feet, is a small marking that appears to look straight down through the stone. You can see that gold light that was coming up through the water. You can see it actually start to shine up through this hole in the stone, and it illuminates. Basically, you can see it better because you're off on an angle from where Grom is, but as he looks up too, you both look up to the ceiling and you see it illuminate a big golden hourglass on top of the ceiling.
I think that's what we're
Anybody
looking
have
for.
any
Time out.
familiarity with arcane magic?
Well, there we go.
Actually, I think that I can spend psi points to learn about it. Aha. So I can use Wandering Mind and spend 2 psi points and enter deep contemplation. If you concentrate for this option's full duration, you then gain proficiency with up to 3 of the following skills, 1 skill for every 2 psi points spent: animal handling, arcana, history, medicine, nature, performance, religion, and survival. The benefit lasts for 1 hour, no concentration required. So would
Okay.
arcana count?
Yes, absolutely. So if you
But
wanted to spend 2 psi points to enact that ability, you could make an Arcana check.
then I am going to do that.
All right.
Natural 20.
Oh shit!
Holy shit.
Whoa!
Yeah. That never happens
Basically,
for me.
you open your consciousness to the idea of the arcane weave, and energy just begins to flow through you. You're basically like a colander trying to hold water. It just runs through you so quickly. There's so much knowledge, but you pull little snatches of it out before it passes, and you realize that this golden light coming up through this stone floor is showing you that the hourglass that Orlund told you to look for is under the water and is rising up to the surface, to the bottom of the island itself. And you know that this is that arcane magical construct of that hourglass that he said you would find at the end of every pursuit into the dungeon.
To let everybody know, hey guys, this is what we're looking for right here. This is that hourglass Orlund was talking about.
Get your
So-
hands off my hourglass.
I'm going to use this opportunity to invoke mystical recovery, which starting at 2nd level, I can draw vigor from the psi energy I use to power psionic disciplines to immediately gain hit points equal to the number of psi points I spent. So I'll gain 2 hit points.
Beautiful. So, Grom, you're standing in the middle of this island as you're bathed in this golden light, and almost like a weird distortion in the fabric of this universe, you see this golden light begin to swoop its way up through this hole in the island. And within a few seconds, standing on the stone in front of you is about 1.5 feet tall golden hourglass that's just ablaze with golden light.
Oh. I mean, I'll pick it up.
Reach out and
And
touch somebody.
you reach down and you pick it up, and as soon as your hand clasps around it, the walls of the cavern and the topography in front of all 4 of you vanish, and it's replaced with a well-lit stone corridor that's 20 foot wide, has those same blue lights that illuminate the floor, and hanging off the wall about 10 feet in front of you is a sign that's mounted into a steel bracket that says, "Welcome to the Overlook."
Oh.
Cool.
And it opens up about 5 or 10 feet further past that into what appears to be a big tavern slash common room. And you can see that there are other people in there dining and gambling and drinking, and you can see tavern maids and barmaids running back and forth across the field of vision of this big open room as you look down this corridor into the Overlook. And that's where we're going to end today's session.
Nice.
Heck yeah.
Thanks everybody for
game.
joining us. We had an awesome time, and we'll let Nathan go ahead and give his outro, and then we'll wrap it up individually between the players.
Yep, don't have much. It's a fun session, guys. Can't wait to get the next one scheduled and see what we can get going next time. It sounds like we're gonna maybe get some RP in next time, which will be fun. Thanks for anybody that was watching, anybody that hung out in chat. If you're in chat right now, if you want to hang out for a couple minutes after we throw up the end screen, we're going to raid our friend Jarl of Goats. He's playing Medieval Dynasty. It is a chat versus streamer stream where you can redeem channel points to screw him over in the game, basically, and get him killed. So, thanks everybody for watching. I'll be sending the VOD to Steve. He'll be putting it up on his YouTube channel. It'll be up on my YouTube channel as well, so you can check both those places to catch up. The first episode's up in both of those places as well. We'll see you maybe Wednesday night for more Curse of Strahd. See you in another dimension.